Okay, here's the Yukon. It is loaded, full of dry wood, seasoned wood. And I've got a little teepee right here and a little log cabin built around it. And I've got some dryer lint down there. And there's some packaging paper as well. We've got a little bit of pine and spruce, but mostly walnut and, well, actually a lot of pine, I guess that is, because there's some scraps from some woodworking projects. And we've got some locusts, so we've got a whole conglomerate of things here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the scout challenge as a boy, was to start a fire with one match. And hopefully that works. Oop. We're getting a little bit of smoke, but that's pretty much gone now. Just showing you how easy it is to light the solo stove with the top-down approach. We're probably about 4 minutes in. We've got from the top of the solo stove to the top of the flame, it's probably a good 4 feet tall. So a pretty good sized flame. See my dent? That was from a snowball, believe it or not. And I need to pull it out, I just haven't yet. Every time I think of taking it out, it's hot. So, okay, I come across a lot of questions in the Facebook groups and on YouTube. How many people can you set around these fires? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. See my push-up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seats around, whether it's a log or an Adirondack chair, and they're spaced out. So we could easily double this, double the number of chairs. And I'm gonna sit down in one of these. This is way too hot. I'm sitting way too close. It's 70 degrees out right now, though. So I think the number of people you can sit around a fireplace depends on the temperature outside, for one. Also the size of the fire pit and the size of the flame. And probably 5 or 6 minutes in now, the flame has almost engulfed all the wood from side to side, all around. You can see how the smoke works. See how that smoke is being created right there, and it's getting sucked right down in there. So at 70 degrees, which you don't even need a fire for warmth at that point, but unless you're soaking wet and you need to get dry. But I'd say you could easily get 20 people around it and feel the heat pretty well. As it gets colder, you're gonna want to, even as the flame, dies down a little bit, you may want to move a little closer. And in that case, I think you could, between 10 to 20, I think you could fit around it just fine. So I have the Ranger. I'd probably say 8 to 10 around the Ranger if it's fully stocked and on. Bonfire, So there's too many variables, you know, or not too many. There's variables that are different for everybody. You know, you've got the cold-blooded, you know, person that just really, you can never get warm, you know. So there's so many variables. But the main two is how cold is it outside, and how big of a fire you're going to have. Obviously, that's what you're trying to decide is how big of a fire pit to get. But it's more. I think the biggest issue is how close or how cold is it outside, because you're going to want to get closer if it's cold. Anyways, that's a good looking. It's a pretty wicked looking flame. There is a little bit of smoke coming off top, but I think that just shows we don't have the complete airflow yet, because I still don't see. I see a few flames coming out of the inner wall, so there's not really a full secondary burn, but there is some smoke. But the smoke is not going horizontally like a cowboy campfire. It's just going straight up at this point, so I still don't smell like smoke. All right, we have a full secondary burn, and what I mean by full is there's little flames coming out of the inner rim holes, and there's no smoke. There's occasionally a little smoke, but you know, it's pretty much little to no smoke. And we are having a bunch of girls from church over to roast marshmallows. They're gonna have some activities starting at 7. I started the fire at 10 to 6, and towards the end of the activity, around 8 o'clock, they're going to start roasting marshmallows. So I figure by that point, we'll have a good bed of coals. It'll be a more ideal s'more situation. So if we would have lit the fire at 7 when they got here, and they would all be able to see the flame, and that's awesome, and maybe someone would get burned and their parents would complain. I don't know, you know what I mean? Because it's a pretty wicked flame. I'm starting to think maybe I should just loaded it full of charcoal and lit it up maybe 15 minutes before they were gonna do s'mores. But this is awesome for me. Awesome flame. Oh yeah, and this has been burning for 20 minutes. Yeah, 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in there. I'm never an exact person. I'm more like, you know, about. I'm good with about. So, anyways, just to recap, this is the top-down light approach, which I highly recommend. And one of the advantages to that is, well, holy crap, that flame is at least 7 feet tall from the ground. It's taller than my head. I'm 6'3". Okay, I would say there's 3 advantages to the top light approach. One, is if the wood is dry and seasoned, you're going to have little to no smoke during the whole lighting process. Whereas you can get a good amount of smoke sometimes when you're trying to catch on one log with a small flame. Okay, so as opposed to from just building the fire up, just load the fire pit full. I loaded it completely full. I packed them in as tight as I possibly could, and you're not going to restrict the airflow. There's so much airflow coming from the bottom. See, here's a good demonstration of the secondary burn. Now that the wood is starting to burn down, you can see the holes better. had some dryer lint and made a little log cabin around it, and then a little tiny teepee inside. And you saw from the beginning I did it with one match, and probably could have just used a sparker would have worked with the dryer lint. So that's one of the advantages is just the top-down approach is just to get a good smokeless light to get it going with no smoke, because that's the goal, right? A smokeless fire pit. If you start from the bottom up, you're probably going to smoke some, unless you got some blowtorch or some fancy way you're lighting it. Okay, the second reason I like the top-down approach is I'm not going to have to add wood for a couple hours, an hour at the most, or at the least an hour, and then possibly 2 hours. So I'll try to document this. I was just going to end the video here, but I'll do a few more clips so you guys can see. And it really depends on the kind of wood you're burning. So I've got a mix of soft and hardwoods, because I've got pine and spruce, and then I've got walnut and locust. So, you know, the pines, the softwoods are going to burn up super fast. But anyway, so there's a lot of variables when you're trying to find an answer to a question. It's not always just a simple, straightforward answer. Okay, so that's the second reason. I like the top light approach. You don't have to load it that often. And the third reason is it's designed to the solo stove, wood gas stove, which is what this is. It's a wood gas stove. It's designed to be loaded and lit from the top. So that's the original designs. So, you know, Solo Stove out of Texas, they're not the original designer of this. This is an old concept. It's been around for a long time. I have some wood gas stoves. I'm a camping stove collector, and I've got several wood gas stoves that predate the Solo Stove company. So it's not a new concept. But Solo Stove has done a phenomenal job with engineering it and marketing it. So, but anyways, so that's how it was designed. If you do want to start a little fire in the bottom and add to it, then all the power to you. That's the natural way to start a fire. You know, if you're out in a regular fire pit or out in a cowboy fire ring, whatever, that's how you build a fire. Anyways, we're at about 22 minutes now. No, let's see. Okay, we're at 27 minutes. And you can see, wow, super hot. You can see the full gasification. There is literally no smoke coming off of it. It's extremely hot. No one would be able to sit in these chairs. It's too hot. If it was 30 degrees outside Fahrenheit, then you'd probably sit in the chairs. Anyways, pretty wicked, pretty fun. Okay, the Yukon has been going for just shy of an hour. And we've got some really good holes. But I can see the grate. And the girls aren't even here yet, so I'm gonna add some more wood. And I'm pretty sure that here in 45 minutes or so, they would have hot coals or roasted marshmallows, but I'm gonna play it safe, so I'm gonna add a little wood. And that'll sustain us for sure through the activity. Anyways, I'll conclude this little demonstration of a top light approach, and hope y'all have a good time and a safe time. Later.